A warm welcome back to Evergreen Valley on Farming Simulator 22 for some farming and chat with me, MrSealyp. Ladies and gentlemen, it's nearly 9, April 1, here on Evergreen Valley. I know it's been a little bit of a delay, like I've said on the previous few videos over the weekend. It was bank holiday weekend here in the UK, anyway. And I did a few bits with family. MrSealyp was away, did some stuff with my daughters. I still put up some videos. I did some different stuff. I did another episode of Expeditions, Mud Runner game. I did some episodes, or I think I did 2. I was going to do 3, but I did 2 on Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which I haven't played in yonks, and was thoroughly enjoying playing that. MrSealyp came home Tuesday. And then yesterday I had to go and pick up the van. The van was ready, fixed and ready for collection. Yep. Scary times. So yesterday I had a day off. So yeah, I have had messages of people saying why am I not making videos? I am making videos, still making videos, still putting them up. The Expeditions and the Assassin's Creed videos didn't do very well. People were not interested. We're kind of in that weird position at the moment where I'm not sure what to do. Everything seems to be tanking. I'm not the only person. I mean, a lot of people on YouTube have been talking about it. I don't know if it's algorithms or whatever it is, but Farming Simulator especially, I don't know if people have just lost interest. I don't know. Anyway, that all being said, I've got 3 sowing contracts have popped up. 1 for soybean, 2 for parsnip. So I've leased this parsnip machine. Today's liquid fertiliser and coal have been delivered. I'm doing this in field 4, field 31, and then soybean in 23. I have been contacted by a new group, Plants Not Pallets. That's the group. For more farming. We want more plants, not more pallets. It is kind of ironic. I was thinking about this actually on this map. The fact, I don't know if that's the point behind it, being that Frontier is just off to our right, sort of ahead and to our right, that it's Evergreen Valley, and yet the whole north of this map is all strip mined and not particularly green anymore. And it's that kind of, I don't know. I suppose it's like anywhere, isn't it? Lift the veil behind the curtain. It's that kind of, things can look wonderful on the outside, and it depends how far you travel, how far you go, how far you look. You look hard enough anywhere, you can find stuff, things you maybe don't want to see, don't want to be part of, or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, it just made me kind of smile. It's I don't know. I've had this conversation so many times before. I've talked about it on this series. I've talked about it. I think on every series I've done now since FS25 came out. And there's all this debate still raging. What's going to happen with 25? I honestly don't know. I haven't got a clue. Not even an inkling. I've heard nothing. No information whatsoever from anyone. Now I found this. This has got seed in, but I've been finding, for some reason, I can't get anything out of it. Let's try that again. Oh, there we go. Brilliant stuff. I need to change that to Neeps. Actually, I don't know whether or not to do this with the John Deere and then take the Claas up. Let's fold that back up. Take the Claas up to, I'm sure it was field 23. Yeah, field 23. So field 23, I'm going to check this again. Always double check. Just make sure. The amount of time. I mean, normally it gives you a warning. Field 4, parsnip. Field 23, soybean. Yeah, they don't pay out huge amounts of money. Field 23 pays out a little bit more, which isn't too bad. So I think I'm going to do that. Yeah, you know what? Let's swap them over. Now, while I have had trouble getting loaded from this silo, I'm not quite sure. I might have to do it with the bucket, possibly. Is the solitaire, because you have to have the cover open. I don't think you can open the cover with it with it folded. When it's unfolded, I can't get under that pipe to get the... Oh, I've got some in here. Let's switch over to soybean. I think what I might have to do, I'll try it. I'm trying to think the last time I've loaded something up manually. I was watching Tom Pemberton the other week and they were doing their fertilising, and it's like all those other jobs on the farm that we kind of skip through. So I do, I suppose. I don't know whether everyone does. That's a very generalised comment. Let's open the cover. There we go. I've got some in there. We kind of skip through, bounce through. You know, you can back up to a pallet of seed or whatever. You can back up to a big bag of fertiliser. Press a button and it will automatically load in. We do have the ability in game to lift stuff up, and we can load manually. We can go as realistic as we want. And watching them do it on Tom Pemberton's channel, I was thinking, yeah, I miss doing things like that. I have had a bit of a, I don't know, something I was talking about when I did a mod review the other day about a concept, but it's like anything. The last few concepts I've had, the ideas I've had, have been either dictated by maps that have come out and I thought, oh, that's a brilliant idea, I love that. And the two that I'm doing at the moment, Mars, I thought, you know, having that thing of there's a checklist of things you've got to do, it's an alien planet, but I thought that's brilliant, that's something really different, people are going to love that. Nope. Not really, not as much as I thought they were. And then on here, all these new productions, all this cool stuff, it started off alright and it's sort of, you know, dwindled. And it's that thing of you take a chance, you know. You kind of look around and see what other people are doing. You look around and think, okay, you know, I don't think anyone's necessarily doing this per se. Know if that's a good thing or not. We seem to be still in this world of clickbaity. You know, people seem to be drawn to and love clickbait. I don't. It still baffles me that people can be so infuriated by it, yet seem to love it. You know, you look at video titles and think, oh, come on. Then you see the views and think, what is? I don't understand. What is happening? I'm going to move that forward. Actually, I've left that exactly in the wrong place, haven't I? Can fold that around the tree. That's not a problem. Let's try that. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, and it's, I don't know. I've had this conversation with my daughter's boyfriend quite a lot, and he's a younger generation of YouTuber. And it seems to be this accepted practice, and I don't know, I suppose because I'm an old fart, there's an element of it. You know, sometimes you can be playful with your oh, there we go, it worked perfectly. You can be playful with your titles of your episodes and that kind of stuff, and I tend to try to be kind of amusing and clever with titles and that kind of stuff. And if something is a question, I will always put a question on the thumbnail. I won't. I'm not one for, you know, putting a title up that people go, oh, and jump on and go, hang on a minute. I mean, that's just, that's not the debate. But that, when I was saying earlier on about the, you know, plants not pallets, that's the FS25 thing. It's that question. It's genuinely, it's being asked. It's, you know, people, I think, people like production chains. People like the way it works. I think it does lend you down a route of becoming very pallet heavy, and like I said, I'm doing it on here. It's, you know, because of all the things I want to try out and the cool things I want to do, it does become a lot of pallet work. And I think a lot of people are saying they want to see more farming stuff in the new version of the game. They want it to be farming, they don't want it to be pallets. Now I've got no problem with it. Like I said, I think having it in game, having production chains and stuff again, it's absolutely brilliant. I absolutely love it. But I guess, I mean, the balance comes down to you, I suppose, at the end of the day. Saying, you know, giants need to balance it. Giants don't need to balance it. It just comes down to what you want to do. I've done, you know, I've tried to balance Let's Plays over the years, you know, and it is difficult. And we're back to that same conversation. Oh, that's what I was going to say. I'll finish what I was going to say first before I go to it. It's a... don't know. It's a tricky one, isn't it? Whichever you look at it, you try to balance it out. I like doing the production chains. I like doing the farming. You have the choice to pick what you do out of all of it. You don't have to go pallet heavy. But when you're doing Let's Plays, especially, like I said before, when you're doing start from scratch stuff, you know, if you are start from scratch, you've got nothing. you might own a bit of land. And I've watched a lot of the people doing these. I started with nothing and, you know, earned blah blah blah, millions of views. And you watch and you think, but you haven't started with nothing. So they go onto a map and they've got loads of land, and you know, it's very clever how it's done. But anyway, yeah, that being said, but when you are genuinely starting with nothing, we come back to the contract conversation when people say, oh, you do contracts all the time. Yeah, contracts are part of the game. They're in there. I'm happy to do them. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. Contracts are there. If you've got no money and you're starting with nothing, you've got no vehicles, no machinery, no land, how do you earn money? So we're back to that conversation again. You do a few contracts, buy a bit of land. You need to look at ways, and I say every single map you're on, you find that thing that will earn you money. You can slog away, of course you can. You can skip through month after month after month, year after year after year, and just do crops. If you want to do that, you absolutely can. But there are other ways to make money. We've talked about diversification quite a lot. So there's all sorts of ways of going about it. You know, greenhouses. People say, oh, but even greenhouses are cheating. I guess that's why people have bought out so many different ones. You know, you put a greenhouse down, all you've got to do is bring it water, and then you're making pallets. You're earning money. You know, there are the greenhouses that require seed and fertilizer. Some require manure. So they are putting in things that require more inputs, I guess, to make it a bit more realistic and that kind of thing. I don't know. And the debate rages. So as far as FS25 goes, I honestly, it's not even like there's a whisper. It's not even like, you know, someone's heard something from Giants and, you know, it's rippling around. I personally, I haven't heard anything. And I know a few people that are very close, tight in with Giants and with some of the people at Giants. I know a few people there, but not, you know, I wouldn't dream of asking those questions because I know they wouldn't answer. I don't want to put them in an awkward position. But I haven't heard anything, genuinely. So I don't know. This that we put in the last episode has worked perfectly. I was so worried. I'm even now thinking I'm probably not going to need to buy one of the coal refineries. I didn't know how this was going to go. If you look bottom right, electric charge, it's full. I've had to turn it off, running slurry and manure. The silage bale ran down to 4 litres. The methane has sold, which is great. We've got a bit of digestate. I think I set a digestate on selling as well, didn't I? Yeah. It's not showing the straw on there, but the straw ran out as well. So that's full. And what's great is all of my productions are full. So with the combination of my Jennies over there, my little diesel generators over there, and this, all of my facilities now are fully loaded. They're all absolutely stocked up. So where they were being drip fed electricity, that's now absolutely rammed full. Which means on the hour, all that's going to do now is just top up all of them. They'll all get a little bit and keep them topped up. So absolutely fantastic shout doing that. Very, very happy with that. I'm going to go across the road first, actually. We've got field 4, which is just over here, which needs part. Actually, you know what? No, we'll do that first. As soon as we're over here. Field 4 needs parsnip, and that's just over here. I'm just going to double check on the old map. Next field over, not this one, because that's all got a crop in it, as is that. The weed situation seems to have cleared itself in a lot of fields. I'm not quite sure how, but unfold that. We don't use a lot of seed, but we've got plenty. That's why I did seed early on. So we'll get the parsnip in the ground. We're not ridging. It doesn't require it for the contracts. All it requires is for you to put the crop in the ground. So I'll do that here. This is a fairly normal field. I'm saying a normal field. It's a rectangular field. It's fairly normal. What I will do is we'll go over, because field 31 is by the side of the river and it's a weird long sort of shape down by the factories and stuff. So I'll probably do a little bit more over there. And this, like I say, the whole, I know I keep saying it, plants not pallets. I made that up. It's off the back of, you know, comments and discussions that we've been having. Not people being nasty, nothing rude or horrible, or, you know. This is not me reacting to negative comments. It's just, it was that thing of conversation that we had and people saying about that. You know, where do you draw the line? How much of one do you do than the other? And, you know, and it's that, like I think I mentioned that it had been said that Farming Simulator is dead, or Farming Simulator 22 is dead, you know, until the new version comes out. It's had it, you know, people aren't interested, they're bored of it, they're moving on to other things. And I guess that's where, when I was talking about the clickbait thing, people then start getting more, trying to do sensational things, looking at what can I do that's going to draw in a crowd, what can I do that's going to make people go, oh, I want to watch that. And it's, it does make you desperate. It does make you get to that point thinking, you know, what do I do? You know, it's a tricky one. You know, you can keep doing what you do and what you enjoy doing, and if what you enjoy doing is playing the game, that's fine. But it's a fine line. You know, you've got to, what do you do? You know, I've been looking at other things. You know, a lot of people are saying, well, haven't you done any more of the walk and talks for a while? Like I said, the weather up until probably this week has been horrific. It just doesn't seem to ever stop raining. We've got a little bit of nice weather for a few days, which is lovely. That's all good. I'm going to be honest with you, and I don't do this very often. I'm always honest with you. I don't talk about this. That's what I mean. I'm never honest with you. No, I'm always honest with you about stuff I'm doing and stuff that's happening in my life and that kind of thing. Probably too honest at times. My weight loss plateaued on me. I'm holding my hands up to this, and this comes down to all the things we've talked about before. This comes down to mental health. It comes down to just life in general, just talking about things and owning what you're doing. We tend to live in a world where it's very easy to complain and moan about things and blame everyone else but yourself. You have to stop at some point and be honest and say to yourself, look, have I got something to do with this? Am I a part of this? Is this me? And it's me. There's no one else to blame but me. We had a bit of, a few little rough patches here and there, and you know what it's like when you're feeling a bit down and a bit miserable. You want to cheer yourself up. You want to be a little bit happier somehow. So, and this is what I've talked about a lot with weight loss, weight gain. When people that are thin, so I don't understand it, just stop eating rubbish. And that's fine. Some people get their happiness from all different areas, and it's, for me, growing up, it has always been food. When you're down, when you're miserable, and you want to cheer yourself up, you want to treat, you want something nice, and the problem is it spirals, and then, like I said, there's that guilt that comes with it, so then you eat something you shouldn't do, and then afterwards you think, why did I do that? You're happy for a little while, it's that little rush. It's like anything, isn't it, really? I've put a bit of weight back on again. I'm not going to lie, and that's the thing, I have put weight back on, and the walk and talks stopped as well. When I have had a few days where the weather's been out, alright, and I thought, I know it sounds awful, and this is me being honest, and I guess this is me actually realising it as I'm talking now. I didn't want to go out and film myself, and I didn't want people to say, oh blimey, you look like you put weight on. I knew I'd put weight on, and yeah. So yesterday, the day before, whatever it was that kind of thing of, you know what, no. You need to get yourself back in hand, get yourself back under control, get back on it as you were doing it, because it works, it works. I promised myself when I got to the lowest weight I'd been in recent years, I'm not going backwards, and I have done. And it's easy to do, it really is. So yeah, I'm a bit kind of, I'm trying to sort it out. Anyway. I set myself up on here today to come on and just do farming. No pallets, nothing else, not show you any of the other bits, not show you the marble mill, not show you, just we're going to come on, we're going to do the sewing, and I was going to have a chat. And I promised myself, just keep it light, keep it farming, don't get... And then what happens? I've set a worker off, chugging away. I might have edited a big chunk out, I might not have done. I'm sorry, I promised myself when I started recording today, I was just going to keep it light and breezy, keep it just farming, do a bit of farming, and just chat, just general chit chat. I didn't want it to get too deep, didn't want it to get, not that I don't mind it getting too personal, I don't mind talking about stuff, I've always said that. And just the bit I've just recorded, I think I might have done. Yeah. Sorry, I am who I am. I do what I do. So while I've got a worker just finishing off or getting on with field 4, I thought I'd get up here and get field 23 done, get the soybean in the ground, and then I can get over to field 31 and get that done. I was thinking about maybe skipping ahead a month or two or whatever, or at least if another farming maybe into April 2, get another farming contract pop up. Turn that on, that'd be great. I suppose the other thing we could talk about, which I haven't really spoken about. Anyone started watching the new Clarkson's Farm? Clarkson's Farm Series 3 came out the other day. First 4 episodes were up. I'm not sure when the rest are coming. If you haven't seen it, no spoilers. I'm not going to ruin it for anyone, but I just wonder what people are thinking of it. You know, I was talking to MrSealyp because she was away, and she messaged me. I think it might have been Sunday night when I was sitting watching it, and I said, oh, you know, because we were going to watch it together, and I couldn't wait. So I said, I'll happily watch it with you again. I've got no problem watching it again. But I have to say, compared to Series 1 and 2, it's a bit more gritty. It's a bit more real. It's a bit more... And I don't know if that's a conscious decision on their part. Series 1 was almost that jokey kind of, let's try it, let's give it a go, let's do farming. And it was a bit bonkers and a bit nuts, and he bounced from harebrained idea to harebrained idea. Some worked, some didn't, and it was that kind of thing. But he was farming. At the end of the day, he was farming his land. And you know, and that's when Caleb became sort of a household name. No one knew who he was until Series 1, and because he was funny and the way he interacted with Clarkson kind of made him who he is, really. And having met him, and I know name dropping, having met Caleb, he's brilliant. I've said this before, he's funny, and I mean wickedly funny. Really intelligent, smart guy, knows his farming inside out, absolutely amazing. And then doing the series I did, where he asked me if I would do the series, and I was working for Caleb Cooper Contracts, that kind of thing. And it's fascinating in watching them on the next series. And series 2 was the same, and there was a little bit more of that stuff to do with the council and the shop and all that kind of stuff. This one, I think because they're being hammered constantly for not farming. It's not real farming, it's entertainment, it's being done for TV. I think I get the feeling they've tried to make this series a little bit more, look, these are the realities of farming. This is what farmers are going through. This is, I don't know, it might just be me. I don't know if it's whether it was a part of how you feel at the time when you're watching something can often affect your perspective on it. But I just got a real, more gritty, real kind of feel to it. More reality TV than... It's still entertaining, and it's still hilariously funny in places, but I don't know. Let me know what you think. I don't know. You know, I know some people can't abide Clarkson, but if you can't abide Clarkson, Caleb's there. You know, it's just I find it all fascinating, and the interactions with the council. I suppose the council being the government, but not the government, but local councils, but you know, the government. Or a governmental body, should I say. It is fascinating, you know, and kind of scary. And I watched Welcome to Wrexham as well with MrSealyp, and I know they were talking on that, Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, when they were trying to get was it permission for the new stand? They were trying to get permission for something, and it had to go to the council, and it was one of those things of the particular council group committee only met certain times a week or certain times a month, and when they met and then they would have the meeting and debate it, it was then however many weeks after that before they would get a response. And I remember Rob McElhenney getting really angry and saying, it makes no sense. I don't understand why. If they've had the meeting and they've sat, and why have they not made a decision? Why is that? And it's that thing of, you know, these rules and regulations put in place, and I suppose a lot of companies do it as well. They have a turnaround period or whatever. You know, we will get you a response in X amount of weeks. And so, again, why? Just why can't you do the response now? It makes no sense. So it's that kind of that bureaucracy when all that gets involved anyway. So yeah, but yeah, if you're not watching it or haven't watched it, give it a watch. I mean, like I say, if you can get past, you know, whatever feelings you have towards any of the people in it, it's like any television program, I suppose. I just find it fascinating, and especially because I did that crossover from Court Farm to Clarkson's Farm, because there's a map out of the area. I love watching the series again now, thinking that's cool. I like watching when I watch Tom Pemberton, you know when his videos release, having done the series on Balham Road dairy farming. that kind of thing. Oh, I know that road, I know that bit, and I did this here and I did that there, and it is crazy. I know, because we're just playing a game. And I know when I met, again, sorry, name drop, but at Lammer, when I met Tom Pemberton, and he was there with one of his mates. I might have said this before, and I said, "Oh, can I have a photo?" He said, "Oh yeah, of course." So I said, "Oh, I'm one of the YouTubers here for Farming Simulator and or the plays Farming Simulator." I said, "I did a series recently on your farm," and his mate went, "What?" He said, "There's a map of your farm," and Tom Pemberton said, "Yeah, there is." And his mate said, "Are they allowed to do that?" And Tom Pemberton said, "Yeah, I guess so." And I almost felt at that point intrusive. It was that kind of, I felt like I should apologise. So I'm really sorry. I'm sorry for going on your farm without your permission. It's a very strange thing, isn't it? And it's that thing that the game does, isn't it? You know, when you've got maps of real places, that immersion. When Six Ashes came out and Court Farm and all these ones, Marwell Manor, all the places that are based on, you know, there are loads of them. Those are just examples off the top of my head I can't think of. I remember. So I'm just trying to tidy up these edges. I know you're wondering why I'm going over the same grub again. Just trying to get some straighter edges. And then what I'll do is, when the other one's finished on field 4, it might have come up while I was talking, I didn't notice. But yeah, you know, when people send me messages or pictures, they'll send me pictures and say, "Guess where I am?" And I'll look at the pictures and you think, that's Six Ashes, or you know, that's Court Farm, and people are going to the real world places and taking pictures. And you can see how accurate a lot of them are. It's incredible. I love that. I've always said that. You know, maps of real places fascinate me. But the maps like this that aren't real places, all the map tours I do, I always say, you know, there's those maps that have that real immersive feel, that feel real. They feel realistic. It's one of those things when people message me and say, "Oh, could you give me a list of maps to play?" Or "What map do you suggest for this particular country?" Or when people say, "You should do your top 5 maps of all time." And I could do, and people watch and go, "Oh, okay, that's his top 5 maps." It doesn't mean they're going to align with yours. You know, it might be maps that I love, you will hate. You know, when people say, "What map should I play on?" I message back, I always message back and say, "Look, that's an incredibly personal choice. It comes down to you and who you are and what you want to do and what you want to play." You know, if you want to try something different to where you live, if you live in the US and you want to try a UK map or a European map of some description, or you want to go South American, but if you want to play on a map that represents where you live, you have very specific tastes and you've got very specific wants and requirements. So whilst I could list a load of maps and say you should play on these, you might go on and say, "Oh, I don't like that at all. That's not what I was looking for." So that's the thing, you know, it all becomes, you know, that personal preference thing. You know, I talked about doing a podcast a while back, and I had an idea for the title, the name of the podcast. I changed it. I had a better idea. I don't want to give it. I don't know. I'm being too cryptic. I don't know if it'll even come off the ground. One of my daughter's boyfriends, the company he works for, the company does podcasts, and he's responsible for setting up. They have like a podcast room and all that. It's all very fancy. I've said this before. I've never done Zoom calls. I've never done TeamSpeak. I know it's straightforward. I say it must be. People do it all the time. I've never done a podcast. I've never done anything on Discord where I've had to. When I did when I joined DJ Goham and Clutch on Farm Sim News, it was all set up. They messaged me and said, "Look, join us on here." It was all done from their end. I just had to make sure my camera was on and I jumped on. So as far as it goes for setting up a podcast and running it, because I thought, you know, I know a few people now, and I know a few YouTubers, and I thought it might be quite cool to do something like that. But again, it depends what I edited out earlier. That thing of I'm trying to work out what to do next. You know, what do I do? What could I branch out into? There you go, contract on field 4 is complete. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the worker off on here. It'll miss that corner off, I can come back and do that. I'm going to go down and grab the other tractor and we'll go from field 4 to field 31 and we will continue. And like I say, this episode is just going to be me farming. I'm just sowing. If I get to the end of this, it depends what I edit out. I won't end the episode. Obviously for you, when I end the episode you'll know, because I'll do my spiel. So what I might do is finish these contracts and then skip ahead and see if I get anything else pop up. and it will come down to time-wise. It doesn't hurt to have a shorter episode every now and again, and I say that, but it won't be, will it? It will still be another 40-minute episode of me talking. But we are farming. Not that it matters anymore, I don't know. I suppose it's because you're not using whiz-banging machinery, you're not using anything particularly new that stands out. If you're using things that have been used before, I don't know, it's but you can't always, especially start from scratch, or when you're almost subsistence farming, where the money you're earning is going straight back into what you're doing, and you're buying odd bits of equipment here and there. You can't constantly have new, cool, different machinery. Almost every episode you'd have to have a new tractor to, I don't know. Anyway, let's go and grab this tractor. Actually thinking about it, I don't know the amount I've been talking, it's going to end up probably being a 35-40 minute episode. I probably will do. I'm just going to get field 31 done. Just some farming. Catch up, and look, our field's growing really well to our right. And everything is running. And then maybe, like I say, skip ahead if a contract comes up, there's something a bit different or interesting or whatever. I've got no marble blocks ready to go, I've got no concrete, I've got no metal work, I've got nothing to show. Nothing is ready yet. They all seem to be a lot bigger. Oh no, hang on. Whoa, don't go over your crop. I was going to top up with seed, wasn't it? Yeah, there's nothing else to show. That's what I said about this episode. There was going to be no pallets. He says there's it's alright, that pallet over there is fine. Oh, I opened it, didn't I? Oh no, it did fill it, which obviously wasn't in the right position before. So, beacon's on, so we're going to go out on the road, cross the bridge, and field 31 is just over there. Sorry, I know I was cryptic about the podcast. It's that thing of, because I've got a couple of ideas, and I even started doing like an icon thing for a sticker, badge, patch, for what it would be called. And then I had an idea the other day, and thought, oh, I've got a much better idea. But I don't want to get... It's that thing of, if I say it out loud, then someone else could say, well, if I don't do it immediately, someone else would say, could nick the idea. I'm not saying someone will steal it, but you never know, And that's not to say there's not already one called what the things I'm thinking, I know I don't. I am hoping at FarmCon, I said it at Llama, it's that thing of you get so wrapped up, and Llama was bonkers because Llama was so full on and packed, and we were interacting and meeting people constantly. I know I said that at the time. You couldn't walk 10 feet without stopping, and that was fine. I loved it, absolutely loved it. And I had all these plans, all these YouTubers were going to be there, all these map makers and mod makers. I was going to do, if you remember at FarmCon last year, an entire year ago nearly, where I did that in conversation with Omatana. And I had every plan. I was going to interview loads of people and didn't. I got caught up in doing all sorts of stuff at FarmCon. Then Llama was like, right, DJ Goham's going to be there, Farmer Cop's going to be there, Disturb Simulations, Average Viking. As it turned out, Lancy Boy was there, and all these people. And we just ran out of time. There was so much happening, all this stuff going on. So I'm setting myself a target. When I go to FarmCon this year, I'm going to do some more interviews. I absolutely want to get some more interviews done. It's that easily distracted, I suppose. Probably easily distracted. Yeah, I don't know. It's a funny one. Yes, it's an interesting field, this. Just a little bit of land squeezed in between the river and all the factories and stuff over this side. I was hoping the sun was going to come out by now, but maybe not. So we've got a while to go till we get to harvest season. I still haven't managed to do that yet, have I? I really struggle with that maintaining pace, and I suppose it depends how you look at it. I don't mind that, almost that a year in the life of, some of my Let's Plays I've done are a year. Literally, I will do jobs every single month. All the contracts that come up, I will do. The farm doesn't necessarily progress massively. You make a bit of money, you buy some bits of machinery and some things here and there, and you end up having done everything. You get from sowing them, or maybe one harvest, prep of the fields, go right the way through and out the other side especially if you're running seasons on, and if you're running precision farming on as well, then you get out the other side to the next harvest and you've done a year, but you might be sort of 20 episodes in at that point, and you think, you know, I've done everything I set out to do. That's a year in. And I know I have had people message me saying, you know, you should skip ahead more. You should show more of, you know, you should do 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, you know. And there is some merit to that. And I've always been very kind of, even when I set myself that thing in my head of saying, right, this one, I'm going to jump ahead more often. I'm going to skip ahead so we can get more harvesting. I tried to do it on Carpathian. Carpathian, I think we got 2 or 3 in. I'm trying to remember now. Maybe we didn't. I've got to be careful I don't roll down into the river. But I'm a nightmare for not skipping ahead. I don't want to skip ahead and miss out on stuff, you know. If there are contracts, if there are things available, if there are ways over that year that, or while my crops are in the ground, I could earn some extra money, I do them. Whereas I should be saying, no, just skip ahead, bump, 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 you know. And that always, again, I've said before, that becomes a lot harder once you've got livestock. Because once you've got livestock, yes, I could skip ahead 6 months, but that livestock's got to be fed. You need to keep them fed and looked after in those 6 months. You need to make sure you've got enough food that you can still do that. So even though you are skipping ahead, there are still things you need to do between each skip. Even if you skipped ahead 3 months, you've still then got to restock everything, make sure everything's okay. And again, that becomes a lot harder when you add productions into the mix as well, because the productions need to be maintained and run, and you know. So it's a tricky one. I said this right from when FS22 came out. The jump from FS19 to FS22 brought about big changes to the ways in which you play, and I guess 2.5 years in now, I still have struggled all the way through to do that properly. Apologies for that. We'll get this done. Get this done. I did say the work has stopped, so I'm assuming the work has stopped, but the contract's not complete. So what I might have to do is whiz up and just double check on that. Get on the radio to the worker and get them working again, you know. Give them some direction, if you know what I mean. Oh, that's steep. Come on. You can do it. I did look at the second-hand machinery, used machinery today, and I've got some popped up. So the last episode I was saying I was a bit worried because it had disappeared. I didn't have any used machinery, which I very rarely encounter. And a few people have messaged, oh, you should try this, try that. And I had come out of the game, come back in. I tried a few different things, and nothing had changed. And then, well, I can show you. There we go. So we have got some stuff, which is cool. That's not bad. I don't have enough money for that, but that would be cool. So yeah, used machinery has returned. I guess it does happen all the time, but I just hadn't encountered it for a long time. Panic set in. I was going to just tidy up a straight line on here. The other contract is complete, or both contracts are complete. I've completed them, and I had 2 fertilising contracts come up. One paid more than the other. One of them pays, I think, 28 grand. It's for field 25, which is the large field just there behind us, across the bridge over the other side. So I'll get this done and I'll head out over there. And that'll be it for my jobs for today. I mean, potentially as we scroll through the day, if I speed up time, maybe off camera, I might get some more stuff pop up. Who knows? I've been asked a lot as well about mods recently, and I have kind of spoken a little bit about it on previous episodes, and people are still messaging. People seem to have a lot of problems with the mod hub at the moment as well, which is very peculiar. The problem is whenever people message me, all I can say, and I know it doesn't help, it's frustrating when you ask a question and the person comes back and says, I'm not having a problem with it, it's not an issue for me. That's not what you want to hear. Unfortunately, I haven't had any problems with the mod hub. And I say the odd couple of issues that I thought I was having, with there being no contracts and no used vehicles, that seems to have rectified itself as well. But people have been asking why are we not getting mods regularly anymore? It's a difficult one, and again, because it's part and parcel of what I do, it's part and parcel of my daily work, it's part and parcel of my daily income, I guess, when you look at it like that. It's frustrating when they don't. The thing about it is, I know it's a difficult one to talk about, isn't it? We're not entitled to them at the end of the day. Giants do provide a mod hub and run a mod hub, and they do allow for and provide for modders. I know it's not always easy. I know modders and map makers have spoken about before about how difficult it is to get things past testing, and obviously it's much harder to get things past testing and onto console than it is on PC. And again, I'll come back to, cannot thank modders and map makers enough for all they do. They increase the longevity of the game. If you were only waiting on DLCs every now and again to come out, I think the game would lose its interest much quicker. Personally, I will farm all day long. It doesn't bother me. I'm happy as a pig in what's name just to carry on. But I know obviously they are rapidly heading towards FS25, if that's what it's going to be called. Thumbnail notwithstanding. So they've got a lot to do. Obviously the DLC came out and it was broken, it wasn't working properly, so they were trying to sort that out. I know over the next week or so they have almost like a training thing where all the staff from the company all get together and they do the FarmCon. They generally try and do it as well. A lot of them all come together and interact with each other, which they don't generally do on a daily basis. I suppose it's like company training. I think they refer to it as a retreat. That's next week, I think, for a few days. So potentially next week for a few days we won't get any mods. But I think because of all the stuff they're having to do and deal with, and I've said before, they're not a massive company, Giants. I mean, they are growing. They're not a huge company. But because they are a fairly small company, the QA team does QA for everything. So the QA team will be quality testing not only mods and stuff when they're submitted, but they'll be quality testing new versions of the game, DLCs, things that are being adjusted, updates, whatever it might be. They're having to quality test those. Now I know people put in the comments they don't seem to quality test anything. No, I know, you know, it's another contentious issue. It all seems to be very contentious for a game that's quite sedate and normal. You can just sit and farm and just be happy. It does seem to cause a lot of consternation. So yeah, they've got a lot going on, and as we head rapidly towards FarmCon and rapidly towards the release of FS25, I guess for FarmCon they want to have, normally at FarmCon they have their big release trailer for the new whatever it is coming out, so I guess they'll be working on that. So yeah, so the guys get pulled from pillar to post. I know most of the people at Giants wear several hats and they're all doing various jobs, so that's why. Yes, it's frustrating, yes, it's a difficult one. You know, I always like to see new mods come out. I always like to see new mods come out. So when we've got something that's really new, that stands out, that's different, you know how I feel about mods and when I do my mod reviews. So yeah, it's frustrating. But I will fall back on what I've said many times before. We have thousands and thousands of mods in the mod hub already. We have hundreds of maps in the mods hub already. There is plenty to be getting on with, plenty to be playing with. You know, I think doing Let's Plays over the years since FS22 released, 2 and a bit now heading on to 3, the amount of Let's Plays I've done, it's not a huge amount of Let's Plays, but you barely scratch the surface of mods available. And like I said, if you were going to try and utilise a lot of them, you would have to be changing equipment daily. You know, it would be that thing. So yeah, that's the mod situation. That's probably why. Again, there is some extrapolation there. That is some, you know, I haven't been told anything officially. I've had a couple of conversations with some people. I know they've got their retreat company get-together thing coming up. But as far as I'm aware, that's the situation. So I will wrap this up, take this back, The cedar I will empty. I've only got a little bit in it, to be fair, but it's still 20 litres. I guess it'll be just under 20 litres. We can use for something else, and then we'll get across the road to the fertilising. I know I should be going straight up and down. Luckily the rows, unless you got a really sharp angle, seems to be planting nice and straight. So all will be well. Planter's gone back. This needs some maintenance. I'm horrified to even look. I mean, just earned a bit of money. Do I want to? No. I might wait till tomorrow till we get some more coal. What's this going to say? Repair. Oh, okay, that's not too bad. I thought it was going to be horrendous. You know what? Let's do it. I've just taken on a contract for... Why not? A bit of preventative maintenance. So the fertilising contract across the way at field 25. I've just taken one on field 12. One on field 12 only pays about £3 It's a fairly small field. But it's there, I might as well. I've got some fertiliser left in the tank, so we'll do that. We'll get across the road, get that done. Happy days. I have turned off automatic application rate. I don't think the automatic application rate works unless you've got the soil mapping's been done. I always turn it off and put it down to the minimum when I'm doing fertilising contracts. I don't want it set too high because it just requires the bare minimum when you're doing contract work, as opposed to your own fields where it needs to be a precise amount put down for the crop. So yeah, I won't have to worry about that too much. Sure it doesn't bounce off the bridge. Let's get that unfolded. And I shall crack right along. I was going to apologise then. I was to say I'm sorry for all the chat, but I'm not. That's what I do. An episode of chat. The last few episodes have been that. Been doing jobs, having a chat. I was asked, am I still doing Mars episodes? I am. Yeah, again, it's a difficult one. It's dwindling, isn't it? So for the people that are still watching it, yeah, I do want to still continue. I want to complete the tasks. So I've got to put my hat on of I need to jump ahead because I've got to get 6 main crops done, and I've only managed 1 in the first round of harvesting, and I need some of the crops for the animals that we're going to be doing on there. So I need to start skipping ahead. I have to start skipping ahead, otherwise I'll never get it finished. But yes, it is still continuing. And like I've said before, many times before, when stuff comes out, I do the stuff that comes out. Life gets in the way, things happen, and you know, it's not the way I'd like it to be. It's not ideal, but it is what it is. So I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you have, please give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, then please be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do. Thanks for watching.